Judging based off of social media chatter, the best girl of the year has already come and gone in the winter season of anime. Some would even go so far as to say the best waifu of all waifu. So what's the next logical step? To start a family, of course.
いいかお嬢ちゃん。アーニャ。いいかアーニャ。今日からお前はうちの子になるが、周りの人たちには元々の親子だってことにする。わかったか？
Spring has arrived, the season of love and romance, and this anime season is filled to the brim with rom-coms to set the mood. But that's not the thesis of this video. We're stepping into the next stage of our life. Minasan konnichiwa, watashi wa YONGGI-BAKA desu. I know I haven't been too active as of late, but I've been sick for about a month, so cut me some slack. This winter season had two of my favorite rom-coms that can't be topped in my rankings. But you already knew that, didn't you? Any excuse to highlight them, really. The first was Karakai Jozu no Takagi-san, an innocent and pure rom-com that depicts a more realistic interpretation of infantile love than 80 to 90% of anime out there. Karakai Jozu no Takagi-san may not be your cup of tea for its slow pace and subject matter, but I will sing its praises and die on this hill. It's one of my favorite rom-coms and I absolutely adore it. The winter season also brought what would become my favorite rom-com, in Sonobis Doru wa Koi o Suru. Not only did it have what some would consider the best waifu of all time in Kitagawa Marin, but across from her is Wakana Gojo, and together they craft an envy-inducing narrative that focuses on the blending of their passions. Just like Karakai Jozu no Takagi-san, Sonobis Doru wa Koi o Suru had a second last episode that ended on such a steep and pressing mound that I'm sure Marin felt the full gravitas of. And if you've seen them, you know exactly what I'm referring to. Their finales too ended on such high notes, filled with love all around for everyone. Needless to say, my rom-com needs are all fulfilled for the year. Maybe even life. But spring continues to pile on the rom-com titles. But none will hold a candle to the two I've already mentioned. My take, my hill. Though the Annie-sphere has shown an explosion of a new girl that has captured everybody's heart for a completely different reason, and I'm all for it.
Bye. Mission. Waku.
Do you remember my opening bit? Well, introduce From Spy Family, an anime that follows a makeshift family consisting of a masterclass spy, assassin, and telepathic child, Anya. Anya can hear the thoughts of those around her. Of course, this would be detrimental to those masquerading as normal adults. But I remind you that Anya's just a kid. The severity of whatever her parents think of go right over her widow head.
確かイーデン校の就学年齢は6歳から。この子はどう見ても4、5歳かそうこら。
Our main character spy, who goes by the name Lloyd Forger, is set on a mission to start a family. But he only has a week. The quickest way to circumvent the 9-month-long waiting period to obtain a child is by visiting the local orphanage and adopting one.
ロイド・フォージャー、職業精神科医。それが俺の新しい人生。
I can't believe I just referred to having a child as obtaining one. But Lloyd's a spy and it's all part of the trade.
里親になりたい？
ええ。こちらの孤児院で縁組を行ってると聞きまして。実は妻との間に。いいよ、どれでも好きなの持ってきな。
At the orphanage, Lloyd comes across Anya, and it's revealed that she's been returned to the orphanage a number of times, most likely for her telepathy becoming too overbearing for unsuspecting adopters, whether or not she disclosed the fact with them. It's such a shitty and despicable act for any adopter to renege on the obligation, the promise that they've made to the adoptee.
アーニャ、うちで一番賢い。無口だがまあいい子さ。不気味でいけすかんガキだからな。とっとともらわれてくれりゃ願ってるで。
Anya's reaction to the adoption is heartbreaking. She tries to walk on eggshells to avoid being abandoned by her latest adopter and return to the orphanage. How she breaks down over any event, words, or thoughts may even suggest that she be discarded once more.
人気ない？アーニャ邪魔な子供？
邪魔じゃないよ。心配せずにテレビでも見てろ。
Even though Anya may be able to listen into the thoughts of those who adopted her, she's still a fucking child. She may not be able to identify where she may have misstepped. The onus is on her parents to learn, educate, and most importantly, to understand their child. Especially if that child's adopted. Expect a steeper learning curve to compensate for the missed time prior to adoption. God damn! Whether it be a human, a pet, or even a Tamagotchi, don't adopt if you can't commit.
親たちはこんな高難度ミッションをこなしているのか。将来のために自尊心を育てよう。自分で考える力を身につけさせることで将来。
Family's one of the most important things to me, and hearing how Anya's been discarded really struck a chord.
置いてかれたらアーニャ涙出る。
4回も里子に出されては戻されてる。
アーニャ・ウィリアムズ、アーニャ・レブスキ、アーニャ・ロッシュ。そうか。じゃあ帰ろう。
She's still a kid after all, and to have such horrendous experience under her belt at such a young age really ages a kid far beyond their years, tainting their impression of the world around them. Luckily, Anya's still able to find little joys in the world around her, like watching spy movies.
アーニャこれ好き。
よりによって。
ワクワク。
Just like how we fell in love with all of Modern's reactions in the winter, and face it, let's lock her in as best waifu of the year, we also fall in love with all of Anya's reactions for how cute and adorable they are. Whether she be horrified at the things she hears, namely other people's thoughts, or excitedly talking about the things she loves or the world around her, she reminds us of her childhood innocence that must be protected at all costs. The only thing that's missing from the familial facade is a motherly figure.
合格だ！でかした！
アーニャ
偉い偉い！
Introduce codenamed Thorn Princess, aka Yor, who's a real bombshell of a woman. Get it? Because she's an assassin who kills people and is conventionally attractive?
大変恐縮なのですが、息の根止めさせていただいてもよろしいでしょうか。
Not funny? Okay, moving on. Yor's looking to get married to avoid suspicion of being a spy because it's atypical for a woman of her age to be single. Yikes. One day while at the tailor, she comes across Lloyd and Anya, and somehow their conversation leads up to her suggesting that her and Lloyd get married. Just like that, fast-tracking the family experience.
あわよくば嫁役にと思ったがやめておこう。
あわよくばパーティーで恋人役をと思いましたが、修羅場とやらは回避せねば。
アーニャ、母いなくて寂しい。
ロイドさん、こんな時になんですが、結婚しませんか？
On the surface, the three appear to be a perfect family, doing things that normal families do, even though Lloyd and Yor may be masquerading for the sake of keeping their true agendas a secret. But what's wrong with that? Aren't most families putting on airs in reality anyway?
遅くなり申し訳ない。 夜の夫のロイド・フォージャーです。
夫でなく恋人で良いのですが。
しまった。
I kid. Though to Lloyd and Yord, the familial masquerade is only a cover-up. But to Anya, this is her new family, and as a child she wants them to stick together forever. She'll do all that she must to hold on to whatever little semblance of family that she has, and for her sake, I hope that they do stick together. I mean, from the get-go, the whole situation had unconventional written all over it, so why not?
気が抜けて溜まった疲労がどっときた。気を抜いただと、この俺が。
Realistically, how many parents stick together for the sake of their children? Like The Simpsons once said years ago, do it for her. In this case, the spy movie and peanut-loving mind reader that captured everybody's hearts, Anya. With the best girl of the year at its center, Spy Family becomes a contender for best family of the year. Agree? Disagree? Let me know. I know I can't be the only one who thinks so. Well, that's all for today, folks. Thank you so much for watching this video, especially if you've made it this far into it. I really do appreciate it. Take care, and until the next time, ja mata ne! Will the three forgers grow to love one another? I really hope they do. Only time will tell. You can't spell dysfunctional without functional.
こいつ実は頭良くない。クロスワードはまぐれ。今からでも他の子に変えた方が。どうした急に。
In other words, do it for her.